Bubble Poi from Ignis, the world's first programmable contact poi are here, but are they worth your hard-earned dollars? Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, bringing you the love of poi spinning and flow arts, and today I am reviewing the new Bubble Poi from Ignis. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flowfests, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, LMF Props, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they do to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. So I'm going to say that these are one of the most anticipated products I have ever done a review on. I remember the reaction when the first videos of them broke out and everything, and people were definitely tagging me right away being like, do you got a review? Do you got a review? And finally it is coming out. I'm going to take you through features, ease of use, brightness, battery life, durability, share some of my personal thoughts, and then finally what the price of these are. So let's start it off with features. Now, basically these are a pair of, they're pretty close to about 95mm contact poi. The heads are 3D printed, and each of them has a set of channels that go through them, not only for the wires that support the electronics, but also for the LEDs themselves. And there's this interesting kind of bearing in the place where the head meets the tether and everything, which allows them to kind of spin on axis and everything as you're spinning them. It also creates a very, very satisfying way to turn these into a fidget toy. Each of these three strips has 16 individual LEDs on them. That means that they have a resolution of 16 pixels. And in addition, they have a single button interface for turning them on and off, as well as navigating through the modes and everything. And they recharge via a micro USB. For tethers, they have these 6mm braided, what looks like nylon ropes to me. And for handles, they have these 3D printed spheres that have a hollow compartment inside of them where not only the tether anchors, but also there are a bunch of washers to add weight to these. Now, one of the features that makes these super unique is that you can actually program and interact with the poi via a smartphone app, which this is the first time that I've seen this happen with a set of programmable poi, period. The app connects to the poi via Bluetooth, and in addition to allowing you to program custom timelines for the poi, upload new images, and of course be able to activate any one color timeline or image from the app, it also includes this really interesting fitness tracker function wherein it keeps track of, you know, how long you've been spinning, how many times you've spun the poi, how many calories you've burned doing it and everything, and it kind of like keeps a little record log of those practice sessions, which is really cool. One other note to stick in here right quick is that these unfortunately are incompatible with the program that Ignis has released for desktop PC as well as Mac to program its other sets of pois. So as it stands right now, the only way to program these is through the smartphone app. And of course, one final caveat to stick in here is that the full functionality of that app is currently only available on Android. The beta release of the iOS version of that app just became available as of yesterday when I'm recording this video and everything. And it isn't at full functionality. Basically, you can activate specific images and specific timelines, of course, but as of right now, you cannot upload any custom images and you cannot program any custom timelines. And in addition, you can also not use the fitness tracker functions. So I'm hoping they get that full functionality released, and I will include a link down below to where you can download the beta version of the app and everything. But as it stands right now, the full features of these poi are only available on the Android app. Okay, so let's talk ease of use. Now, I have tended to be a big fan of Ignis's other programmable poi simply because the interface is one of the most intuitive I've ever seen. It's a 3-button interface that has a little label right next to each button telling you exactly what it does. I was a little nervous given that these have gone down to a single button interface, but I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to turn them on and navigate them without too much problems. You know, one of those measures that I have with any new set of LED poi is how how easily can I use this and access the features on it without the instruction manual? How quickly can I get to something that is usable without having to get any help on that and everything? And the answer to that is it's actually pretty quick and intuitive and easy and everything. My one and only caveat here is that the system that Ignis has for navigating through their Poi and everything, where you have that first page full of timelines and then you can access individual images after that and everything, while it is wonderfully flexible, if you're not used to using it, I can see how it would be confusing the first time you fired it up and everything. So in terms of getting into the navigation on these and everything, I would recommend checking out some of their instructional content. But in terms of just like getting them turned on and usable and everything, yeah, it's really simple. In terms of the software, everything is relatively easy to understand. Like the ability to fire up any individual timeline or image is something that I grasp right away. Okay, so now let's talk brightness. So dear friends, are they bright? I would say yes. Yes, they are. Okay, so what about battery life? So most of y'all that follow my channel regularly will know that I have 2 common tests that I give to any set of LED Poi, and yes, I'm going to explain it again because this might be the first video that somebody is watching of mine. So the 2 tests that I do are, number 1, I give the battery the most punishing test that I possibly can. I turn the brightness up and I make all of the LEDs display pure white because that is all colors as bright as they can possibly go, and I wait and see how long it takes for the batteries to burn out. The second test is intended to be a more average use case, where I take whatever brightness level the Poi have out of the box and then have them go ahead and do like a rainbow strobe and everything so that each of the LEDs individually is not strained too terribly much. And again, I wait to see how long it takes for the battery to go dead. On bright white mode, these Poi last for about an hour and a half. On rainbow mode, however, goodness, we got to somewhere between 11 and a half and 12 hours with these, which is absurd for any set of programmable Poi. Wow, well done there, Ignis. Okay, so now let's talk durability. So it should be said right at the drop here that durability is the Achilles heel of any set of programmable Poi. The whole problem here is that you basically have a strip of LEDs that has a specific circuit that they're attached to and everything. And I don't know if you've checked recently, but Poi can take one heck of a beating when you spin them, whether it is from drops or mid-air collisions or colliding with your body or what have you. There's a lot of things that jostle those circuit boards and can create a problem with any set of programmable Poi. Now, as it stands, I have not had any component fail on me. That said, I'm a little cautious about the fact that these are 3D printed, specifically because things that are 3D printed like this tend to be flexible and everything, and I wonder how much of that the boards can take before they start having failures. I haven't had any failures yet, but I have seen a couple people online that have posted about problems that they've encountered with these. I don't know that's going to be a long-term thing, but as of right now, I've had these for about a month and I've put them to semi-regular use. I have not seen any problems with any of the components. All right, so now let's talk about what some of my thoughts are about these Poi. First up, I want to tell you about some of the things that I think are super awesome about them. Number 1 is the battery life. 12 hours with a set of programmable Poi is just absurd. I have never seen anything like that. And given that the app that they have for you certainly incentivizes you using them for long hours and everything, it's a good thing that that exists. And speaking of the app, the fitness tracker in it is amazing. I cannot believe that that's a thing. And quite frankly, any other flow arts companies that are interested in creating their own apps should really, really, really be cribbing from Ignis's notebook because they did an amazing job on it. Okay, now let's talk about some stuff that could probably use some work. First up, as amazing as the fitness tracker is in the app, there is one exception, and that is the section where it keeps track of how many stalls you do. I was very confused as to what this was actually measuring because it was definitely not measuring my stalls. I found that I would have to do a stall and leave the Poi sitting there for the better part of a second before it would register, and sometimes it would have this really bizarre behavior where it would count a stall and then take away the count on it, and I have no idea why. I know from talking with other people that have tried to measure accelerometer data from Poi that sometimes the results can be really confusing, and so I respect Ignis for trying to cross that threshold, but this one needs a wee bit more work. There's also a really bizarre thing having to do with the user interface between the app and the Poi, and that is that the app allows you to have like over 100 slots where you can stick individual images and everything, whereas the Poi themselves have somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think it's like 32 slots for individual images that you can actually access on it and everything. So that means that you can drop an image onto these Poi and say, lend your phone to somebody, and if you turn them off, you're no longer able to access that image again because it might have been put in like the 50th programming slot rather than the 30th one. So that's kind of weird, and I kind of wish that just in terms of user interface that you were limited to a number of image slots on the app that is the same number that you can actually access with button pushes on the Poi themselves. That would just be a good way to make sure that all those pieces line up. And of course, we need full functionality on iOS. I'm glad that there's a beta version of the iOS app out there, and I can't wait for the full release. But just as a general note to manufacturers out there, if you don't have cross-platform support, you are still in beta on your product. Please make sure to mark it accordingly. And also, I've got two kind of generalized notes that cover some things that you might not know that you should be asking about these, but that you still should be asking about these. Okay, so first and foremost, it's super awesome that we have programmable Poi that are in a contact Poi form factor. But that doesn't mean that the patterns that you program into these are going to look like anything when you go to use them for contact roles. Why is this? Well, because when you're spinning these Poi in a traditional manner, that is like, you know, you're doing flowers and hybrids and the like and everything, the Poi are basically going across a very, very, very wide distance relatively quickly. Now, when you do a contact roll, it is traversing a short distance in a long amount of time. And what's more, the Poi are rotating around an internal axis of symmetry. What this means is basically the effect becomes analogous to if you spun a TV around on its center. That is, whatever images you had programmed in here are going to basically just turn into blurry, shapeless bits of color. And I'm also going to say that as much as I love the app, it also makes me a little confused about this product. You know, we usually think about programmable Poi as being kind of a premium product, something that exists for gigs or for special occasions or what have you, and yet the app really clearly incentivizes casual usage of these. Now, if you're using these in a casual manner and everything, it's way more likely that they're going to get damaged, and that could potentially be a problem for them in the long term. I wonder if there maybe isn't like an opportunity here for a product that is not necessarily a set of programmable Poi, but still ties into that Ignis app that are intended for casual use and are intended to be beat up and abused and everything. But yeah, overall, we've got programmable LED contact Poi in the world, and that's an amazing thing. And the fitness app is fantastic, and it makes me want to practice more with them. So, take from that what you will. Cool, so with all that said, the Ignis Bubble Poi, the world's first programmable contact Poi, are available for $199 a pair over at ignispixel.com. Do you have a set of the Ignis Bubble Poi? What have your experiences been with them? Let me know down in the comments. Did you find that fitness app helpful? Did you find the interface for uploading new images to be as moderately confusing as I did? I'm really curious to hear. If you dug this video, please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe so that other people can find it. And of course, a huge thank you, because this video would not be possible without the kind contributions of these nice folks right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they, as well as the people listed down in the description of this video, make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. If you would like to sign up to support the work that I do, which I would greatly appreciate, but no pressure, head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and sign up. You can get early access to all of my content, as well as a say in what topics I tackle in the future, plus some great behind-the-scenes content and some extras. Go check that out. Please and thank you.